Okay, I call to order the session of the Milton Design Review Board for September the 3rd, 2019. Let us first begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll now start with the introduction of our staff and board members. To my left.
I'm Bob Buscemi. I'm the city architect.
Charlie Roberts, live on Freemanville Road.
Reed Casey, Bethany Road.
Tim Bryan, I have a business here in Crabapple.
Jeff Dufresne, Summit Road.
Beniquas Palmer, Canterbury on the Lakes.
I would like to get a motion to approve the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I would like to get a motion to approve the August meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the August meeting minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Our first item on the agenda is a demolition of 16530 Hopewell Road that was deferred from last month. Any new information for us? We know what the project is all about, I believe now, but I guess now we have more information.
I went out with Connie Mashburn and Bill Lusk and Bob, and we spent 2 or 3 hours looking at it. And after a lengthy, and I believe they've given you a letter, right, or something?
Yes, with the chair's permission, I'll read the letter.
Okay.
So at the end of, I asked that you defer it till we had the time to do this. I appreciate you doing that. I know it cost you 30 days, but after a lot of investigation, I came to the conclusion with their help that it was not worth saving, and I feel we should let you move on with your demolition. I'm just one person.
Charlie, just for the record, which Bob?
Bob.
I'm sorry?
Bob, what's Bob's last name? I'm having a moment.
The letter?
No,
Bob
Bob
that went with
that
you
wrote the
to-
book on the barns.
Oh, Bob Meyer.
Bob Meyer. Okay, I just want to make sure for the record.
Yeah. Okay, Bill Lusk is president of the Milton Historical Society. That society came up in the discussion before, and this is the letter. I'll read it for you. 16530 Hopewell Road. Gentlemen, after careful consideration, the Milton Historical Society has reluctantly determined that it is not feasible for the society to preserve the house located at aforementioned address. While we appreciate the historical nature of the building, the Historic Society does not have the funds to move and restore the house, nor do we have the property on which the house could be located and make available to the public. We have discussed with the City of Milton the possibility of having a portion of one of the properties purchased by the city dedicated to the creation of an historic village where a selection of historic properties could be preserved for future generations. Such a park would be an educational facility open to the public and would be a great credit to the City of Milton. The Milton Historical Society stands ready to work with the city to realize such a worthwhile project. The Board of Directors of the Milton Historical Society seeks to find ways to preserve our historic sites and structures. We in the City of Milton share a common appreciation for our past, and we will want to make our shared heritage available to our citizens for generations to come. Sincerely, Milton Historical Society, William C. Lusk, President.
We're going to have discussion. I'm sure the chair will call the public, but based on all that, and again, thank you for deferring, I would make a motion that the demo permit for this address be approved.
I second that.
Any other public comments about this?
And just for clarification purposes, is this being demoed for one new residence or the reason for demo again?
They're looking to subdivide the property.
Okay, so it'll be several residents or
That's correct.
structures that'll be.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Just a refresher.
State your name and address for the record.
Thank you. My name's Louis Raynaud. I live in the Manor Golf and Country Club. I just want to thank y'all for going out there. I've been doing this for 30 years, and so many times council members don't appreciate the individual and take their time and study it. And that's all I want to say. I appreciate it. And I used to live in Canterbury on the lake.
Oh, really?
On the lake, you go straight all the way down.
Mm-hmm.
That house right there.
That Miss Ivy lives in now?
And she lives right next door.
Okay.
And she plants plastic flowers.
Yes.
And drives me nuts. I had to move.
Okay, so
That's all I have to say.
just as a reminder to the board, I mean, it is up to the board to how you vote. And then the other thing the board has done in the past is if there's some individual piece that they think is worthy of restoration or reincorporation into into the new dwelling, you could make the motion conditional to say you think, like on the stone house, we said, okay, the stone has to be reused, or if there's a historical element like the front door or something. I'm just saying, if it doesn't have to be an all or nothing, it could be, not for this particular, but for even future.
Okay.
The board has in the past, similar to what we did on the stone house right here in Mayfield.
Okay.
We said, okay, you can take it down, you should document it with photographs and submit them in so that we'd have a historical record of the house, and then we reuse some of the, we told them to reuse the stone. So there might be an element inside the house, outside the house. So it's not always an all or nothing.
I've been to
it
the
is up
house,
to the
and
board.
although it's, cute at first glance, I don't know if there's anything major that's worth saving on
I
the.
don't
We
think so
spent a
in this
lot of
case,
time,
but,
looked
yeah.
underneath, pulled around. There's a lot of 50s, 70s, 90s stuff in there that nobody could use. So I don't see anything in there worth saving.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other comments?
No.
And we've already had our second.
Yep.
So wait, the motion was,
Charlie, Reed, second.
So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Approved.
So our next item tonight on the agenda is a courtesy review. 19-009175 Gladwin Ridge Drive.
I don't think anybody's here for it, but I would like to comment on this if it's okay, just in case I have to miss next meeting or for whatever reason. There's nobody here for this? I don't, yes?
Unless it was that gentleman trying to get in the door.
No, it wasn't. I have been to this lot for this gentleman and looked at it for him, just from a real estate perspective. And it is one of the wonkiest lots I think I've ever seen. And it's just unfortunate because I think that this gentleman, he can tell you a story, but this was a lot owned by maybe an uncle or something. Do you remember the history of this, Bob, at all?
This was a lot that he's had for
Years and years and years.
and he went for a variance, and the BZA did grant relief for the septic location, as well as for the house to be located within partially into the 75-foot setback. And it went through, and there was a lot of discussion and whatnot, and then, so he got that, and it was approved and granted. And now the applicant is coming back saying, well, I need further encroachment into the buffers in order to fit a different style home that I want to put. So that's what it's coming back to the BZA for.
Yeah, I think that has to do with the minimums. He needs a minimum square feet in the neighborhood to build a certain size house. And the buffers that he has right now just will not allow it, besides just a real funky style house that probably wouldn't be approved in the neighborhood anyway. So anyhow, I just wanted you to know that I've looked at the lot, and this was a real hardship,
Really? Okay.
a severe hardship. Would you agree with that?
I think the BZA had agreed with that.
Okay.
A severe hardship in that what?
Well, you could probably put a 2,000 square foot house on it, and it would look very charming. But the neighborhood that it's in won't allow that. They have a minimum square foot that you have to meet.
Okay.
And so in order to meet that square foot, this guy has looked at turn and twisted and trying to make this thing cute and any way that you
We
possibly
did get it
can.
to initially work for the BZA, but the configuration wasn't very
Yeah, you have to have the
suitable. It had,
garage
like,
right in the
angles
front
and all
of
sorts
it,
of weird
and it's
stuff.
just strange.
Now he's looking to do some,
So when he got the variance for the septic, why didn't he get the variance for the bigger lot or?
he really did. He got a variance for both the septic encroachment as well as the house encroaching into the
Okay.
buffers,
Okay,
the stream buffers. But now he's saying I need an additional 5 foot of encroachment.
okay.
Yeah.
Because the houses around him now are what, bigger than they were before or?
the houses
There is
around
a
are
community standard on the size of the house, and he's trying to, I guess, with the configuration, putting it in, he realized that he needs a little bit more encroachment.
Yeah.
Okay,
He's gonna make his appeal to the BZA, saying, well, can we do it? And I'm sure the BZA is gonna look to this board for advice on whether or not we really think it's ultimately justified
Yeah.
or not.
Yeah, I think he went for a variance, he got it, and then he went back to the drawing board and thought, oh my gosh, I really can't do what I
right.
was trying to do.
Right.
And an extra 5 feet would allow him to do that. And
So what I was hoping he was gonna do tonight would be to come here and kind of show you what his plan is.
Right.
Just to make sure that he's not just asking for more,
yeah.
Right,
that it's
that's
truly the minimum that he needed.
Right.
And
Yeah.
of course, the applicant's not here, but
So
if he was, it would be nice for him to make that argument to the DRB, and if you all feel that it's justified, then it would go to the BZA with those recommendations.
okay.
So we need just to defer this one till next month?
If the applicant's not here, I'm sorry. Yeah,
We can't give the comments for
We
the,
can't, we'd have to defer it.
Yep.
because we've
We
always
can't, we
done it
can't
that way.
vote even if he's not here.
We've always had a policy that if the applicant's not present, the board would just defer it, because it's not really fair without
okay.
the applicant
if he maybe
actually
was gonna
making
get a
his
yes.
presentation. But if he makes a presentation, you might say, well, wait, I changed my mind. I mean,
Oh,
it's
okay.
usually, we've never done it without it.
Okay.
We've always told the applicants they have to be
I was
here. We
thinking with
tell
this
them all
one-
the time, you have to be present, or a representative has to be present at the meeting, just to make sure that they tell you what they're looking to do.
Okay.
And you hear it from them and not staff.
Okay.
So do I need to make a motion then for the deferral?
You'd have to make a motion for deferral.
So I'll make a, or who wants? who
Yeah, I'll
wants
make a
one?
motion
Who
to
wants-
defer, what's the address,
It's-
Gladewind?
There you go.
Yeah, 175 Gladewind Ridge Drive to the next meeting.
Who wants, when you second? All in favor? Aye.
And who's second?
Jeff.
Jeff.
We have no final reviews. Any new business? Any old business?
So with old business, I did want to inform the board that at last month's meeting, we discussed the applicant who wanted to build the open carport.
Yes.
And actually, the board had quite a number of comments. And when I went to the BZA and presented it, the BZA board and the chair there and the entire board as a whole were quite interested in the DRB comments. And they even listened to the DRB tapes and videos of the meeting to hear the discussion that was made. And there was a lot of comment there where the DRB just didn't think that structure would be appropriate in that location, nor would it look good. So the BZA has redirected the applicant to go back and work with staff. And I worked with them, and we actually figured out a solution that does not require any variance at all, and the applicant was very happy with it. So now they're back on track, working and saying that they don't even need it. What they're thinking of doing is going back and saying, well, can we put a play structure in that area? But it's not the building at all. So it's the actual building. So I do want the board to know that the BZA members actually watch the videos of the hearing to see what your recommendations are and how things are put forth. They take it very serious. And based on those recommendations, they're making their conclusions. So I think it's, very, very important that, and it shows a lot for this board, to say, listen, when we make a recommendation, the BZA is really taking that recommendation very seriously. And I think that's very important. These recommendations you make on these are not just, falling on deaf ears and they're doing what they want to do. They really take it into account. So I just wanted to let you all know
That's a
that
great
that's very,
story.
very important, and I think it holds a lot there when they do that. So it was very
Yeah.
nice.
Good.
So I just want to tell you that little feedback so that when you do make recommendations in the future, it's important because I think those recommendations are really taken into account from the BZA board.
Okay,
Good to
thank
know.
you.
Any other old business? I guess the meeting is adjourned.